Hey there, I'm Cindy, age 36. My life was always a roller coaster ride, but this one ride was worth remembering. So, I work as a teacher in a local primary school in Brookline, Massachusetts. I was a divorcee at the time and was taking a break from everything. My ex-husband was a cop. His life and my life were completely opposite. He had a life full of dangers while I have a weak heart. I prefer red solace over risky adventures. He was a grumpy person, serious, had anger issues, and sometimes a tad bit misogynistic. I remember him having opinions about my work life and how I was neglecting the household, how he should be the one bringing bread to the table and not me. When we divorced, he was very angry. He said that I was a weakling and that I couldn't stand criticisms and the truth. I found that really hard to believe, that whatever he said could be deemed honest and correct. After that, my life went back to the usual pace. Went to school every day, taught kids, came home, made dinner. It was becoming a little monotonous. It is not that I didn't have friends, but I needed some constant companionship. I understand how problematic this can be, even sought therapy to keep it at bay. The lonely heart wouldn't shut up, so when I met Lenny at a local bookshop, my heart fluttered like that of a corny 17-year-old. He was the store owner. He was well fit and very handsome. His hair was a blend of wavy and straight with a little gray area at the sides. I was going in there every Saturday to buy some new books. I am an avid reader, and having Lenny as my crush was a definite plus. He was a sweet guy. He would quietly sit at the corner reading his daily news, and I would sit at one of the solo chairs and try out the books from the fictional section. It was like this every weekend, and I would make it a habit to look for him every time I entered the shop. He also had a son. His name was Cain. He would come to take the place of his father every now and then. He was an energetic kid, made big gestures when people who knew him came to his shop. Cain was always a bit up and going, opposite to what Lenny was. There was a cafe right next to the bookshop. Usually after work, I would enjoy a nice cup of coffee with my favorite book in hand. I would sometimes see Lenny come and sit at the little table next to the window. There were times when we locked eyes and he would smile sweetly. The smile used to make my heart flutter. I would smile back. "Hey, so are you from around here?" "Well, I live a few blocks away from here. I'm a primary teacher. And you are the bookshop owner?" "You noticed, right? You are a regular customer in our little store." "There are always plenty of people coming in, but you are very distinguishable from all of them." "Ah, yes, I love books a lot, and this is the only bookstore that keeps the collection of books that I like. So I try to make some time to stop by." "Yes, we are a bit old-schooled, and many people love to come here because they get some old collections that are not sold anymore." "Oh, am I so rude? My name's Lenny." "And I'm Cindy." He came from his table to mine, and we started a jolly conversation. He is funny and a free-spirited person. He spoke about his childhood, politics, education. We were having a gala time when suddenly Cain, his son, came inside the cafe with a package. At first, he didn't notice me, but when he did, he seemed a bit annoyed. "Here, Dad, Uncle sent you the thing that you wanted, the set of drivers. We can fix those rotten doors now." Who's this?" "Let me introduce you to Cindy. She is our regular. We were just chatting up." Well, you do remember that we have a family dinner tonight, right?" "Of course, how could I forget that? It'll be around 8. "Yes, and please be on time." I felt like it was natural for someone to feel protective about their parents. I wasn't blessed with children, which was more or less God's will. I feel like the divorce would have affected my children a lot, and a father like that wouldn't have been a good example. That night, I called my parents and spoke to them. They live in Florida, and sometimes in situations like these, I miss them. I remember excitedly telling them about how I found Lenny and how much of a good guy he is. My mother was always a supportive woman. She kept asking me if now it was the right time for me to find a trusty companion. I was being very hesitant about it. I knew if I became impulsive here, this would probably be a horrible decision. The next day, I remember going to the bookshop a bit earlier than usual. I couldn't help but notice how decked up I was. Maybe I did it unconsciously, maybe for Lenny. My heart skipped just thinking about it. How can I help you? Oh, I was just here to return some of the books I borrowed. Is Lenny here? Father isn't here. Do you need anything else? Oh, I just wanted to drop by and say hi. So here are the books. Thank you. Are these all? Yes, that's all. If you ever see your father, can you please tell him that, no, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. My father is going through a rough patch and he doesn't need any of these. I don't know what your intentions are, but I would prefer if you didn't meddle into our family affairs. I just felt nice talking to him, that's all. I'm sorry. Please do visit again. I felt thoroughly embarrassed. I know I probably looked very desperate and I should stop. This is true, I am meddling in family matters and this would cause much trouble. It was late at night when I received a missed call on my phone. I don't pick up unknown numbers, but I felt something about this one. The call went on voicemail and instantly I recognized that voice. It was Lenny. But how did he have my number? I didn't share any of my details with him. Well, I didn't think much of it and I fell asleep. The next day, I got another call from the same number. I excused myself from the class and called back. Hi, am I speaking to Cindy? Lenny, right. Yes, I am. How did you get my number? It's funny how we stop thinking about our age and do things as if we were still in high school or something. I got your number from the record list. When we first took your name, we asked for your number, remember? Oh, I see. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can keep the call if you want. I know this was very inappropriate. We take numbers so that we can remind the readers whenever a new stock has arrived, and we are very protective about the numbers. But I wanted to contact you. I'm happy that you called. I went to the shop the other day looking for you, and your son told me you weren't there. My son hasn't mentioned me anything, so it explains he doesn't want to. I understand. It is not a good thing for them to see their father move on with a stranger. They know nothing about me. They just enjoy seeing me sulk around in the shop and not meet anyone. They're just children. They wouldn't understand any of this. So, are you going through a rough patch? Your wife? She was never a good mother. She left after I had my second child. She told me on my face that motherhood wasn't a fit for her and gaslighted me, saying that I manipulated her into all this. She left long back. I'm so sorry. Does she... The doorbell rang. Oh dear, I have to go. I don't have much time left before the next class. Can I speak to you later? Hey, before you go, I just want to tell if you will be able to make it for a small dinner at my place. My son won't mind. I'll talk to him. I will let you know, all right? I was invited for a small dinner and I was nervous. I didn't know what they would feel in my presence. But I felt like I was doing nothing wrong. He invited me. He wanted me to come, but his son would not approve of it, I know. But all I can do is try. The dinner could have gone worse, to be honest, but somehow Lenny did his best to manage. We were talking and laughing about our childhood. He even cooked us some steak and mashed potatoes with some red wine to wash it all down. He was such a sweetheart. It made me feel bad for all the things he was going through. His wife, Michelle, and he were married, young, and they were these badass bikers swerving through the lanes and traveling through the country. They were those delinquent sweethearts people read in books about. They got married in some local church as they eloped. Later on, Michelle got pregnant, and that's when things went downhill. It was a difficult thing to accept, being left behind by the person you sacrificed your family for. I reached out to hold his hand when Cain stormed into the room looking furious. "Dad, again, how many times have I told you not to bring random strangers at home? And what is this? It's her." "Cain, dear, I was just talking to your father. We're just having dinner, please." "You keep quiet. You're trying to mooch off my father behind my back." "Enough, Cain. How dare you? You have crossed your line. Can you please not let your father have a bit of peace? And what are you on about, multiple people? I had friends and their wives come over. When did I ever bring someone I like?" "Really? Like, do you want to end up like how you and Mom did again? She will leave you too. Look at her. She's younger as well." "I said enough. Now go to your room. I was just having a nice dinner, and you are always coming out of your way to ruin things. You and your sister are enough of my responsibilities. Give me a break." "I will never approve of this. She will never be our mother." After Cain stormed upstairs, we both sat there silently contemplating what just happened. I was shaking from inside when Lenny reached out and held my hand. He was looking sad and humiliated. I kept blaming myself inside my head. I knew what we did was not seen fairly by most of the children these days. I held his hand tightly and sat quietly. I didn't know what else to say. "I'm sorry for what you had to witness. He can be stubborn sometimes, but he will come around, don't worry. I don't want to convince them to trust. I want to earn it, and this won't be that simple. We are heartbroken people seeking companionship. That concept is lost in children these days. They think we always have bad intentions, but we just want peace. So do you want to stay a bit longer, or do you want me to drop you?" "I think right now it wouldn't be a good idea to stay. They're already really angry, so I think I should leave, and no, you don't have to drop me." "Well, at least let me escort you to the door." "Okay, Lenny." After a few months of exchanging small conversations and spending time, we thought we could tie the knot. A very simple event, nothing too extravagant, just a few friends, my parents, and that's it. Sadly, Cain was not present. He and his fiancée were out on a trip before they tied the knot. I was trying to not feel too bad at these things. I know they're children and they're not able to empathize with us because they're swayed by strong emotions. Lenny was such a darling. He was really a different man than what I experienced with my ex. He was much calmer and politer. He was helping around, talking to guests and smiling radiantly. Angela was our event manager. She was one of my colleague's sisters. She made this humble arrangement in such a short period. "You did a fantastic job. Thank you so much, dear." "I'm more than happy to have helped. You are an adorable couple, and seeing love blossoming in hard times gives me hope." "I heard that you were also going to arrange Cain's event. He will get married in 2 months. "Yes, Lenny spoke to me about everything and gave me the list of things that he needed me to do, like, the number of guests, food, drinks, etc. "I hope it is a success for you, Angela. Hoping to stay in touch." "Me too, Cindy." The event went rather smoothly. At the end of the day, Lenny and I managed to sit quietly and take a shot of wine together. We seemed content, but still troubled. Lenny told me the other day that Michelle had gotten news of his marriage and had planned to pay a short visit. I knew that this day would be coming, so I didn't stop him. I wanted things to come to terms. And I wanted to meet whoever this Michelle was. Kane said he wouldn't be back too soon. They went to Brazil and they were having much more fun. Lenny was really sad. He wanted his son to understand the situation. He was always sighing and sometimes even sitting alone on the porch, staring into space. I did not like bothering him much. I knew he needed some time off. On the other hand, Kane and his fiancée came back from their little trip. They bought souvenirs for everyone except me. I was not surprised, and it's all right. I wanted Lenny and Kane to at least talk about this, like a father-son time. With time, things changed. They spent hours arguing over things that were stupid and trivial, and sometimes Kane would storm out of the house in the middle of the night. Sometimes he'd even come back 2 days later. After a month and a half, our doorbell rang. I was at home that day. I took a day off. I reached out for the door and felt a tingling sensation down my spine. I knew why. I opened the door and looked straight into Michelle's eyes. My heart completely stopped. There she was, standing with her worn-out jacket and ripped jeans. I have seen her pictures, so I knew what she would look like. I wasn't able to move a muscle until she spoke first. "Oh, so you are his new lady. Bad choice." She stormed inside the room like it was hers and sat on the sofa lavishly. She put her legs up on her table, crossed, and looked at me while chewing gum. I was slightly annoyed by this gesture, but I took a deep breath and relaxed my nerves. "Do you want some tea, coffee, wine?" "Wine. Fetch it in a tall glass." "Sure." My hands were trembling. I didn't know how things would be when Lenny came back. He would be in shock. I mean, this was so unexpected. I glanced back to see she was surfing through the magazines that were lying on the table scattered. "So, what is it about you that he likes so much? It's not like you are that pretty." "I don't know. You can ask him. We just seek companionship. I just want him to be happy." "So, are you trying to tell me that I didn't keep him happy?" "I'm not suggesting anything. I'm stating, that's all." I don't know what went wrong, but Michelle abruptly stood up and threw the wine glass, aiming at the bookshelf right behind me. I was stone cold. She was laughing hysterically and looked like a freaking maniac. What on earth? This woman was Lenny's wife. I can't even believe it. She looked like a total psycho. "Whoops! Was that expensive? Sorry." "Look, bimbo, whether you both are married or not, I don't care. He's still mine and will always be mine. You are just a replacement. My children have not even accepted you yet. You can never be their mother. I have their birthright." Before I could say anything, she left the house with a loud bang. Wow, quite a character. Lenny was too soft for her. He deserved better. I promised myself I would protect Lenny at all costs. When Lenny came back home, I was too stunned to speak. I thought it wouldn't be the right time. At dinner, we all sat down together. Kane began to grumble. "My mom doesn't want Cindy to be at my wedding, Dad. And please, I don't want any trouble during my wedding. I want no nonsense. Cindy, you are not coming. Are we clear?" "Yes, dear, I understand." "What, yes? Why are you agreeing to this nonsense? She was their mother, but she doesn't deserve that right. Kane, quickly eat your damn food. We are not having this discussion." I had to hold Lenny's hand. I had something in my mind. Lenny eyed me and he probably caught something, so he carried on with his food silently. "At least Cindy understands better than you, LOL. Keep her away, do you get me? She is not my biological mother." We both ate quietly that night. That night, I made a call to Angela. I told her that I would love to meet her tomorrow. She gave me a time around the afternoon. I wanted harmless revenge for all the scenes Michelle did to me the other day. And maybe to Cain as well for being so stubborn. So, how can I help you? Can you please do me a favor? I know it's stupid, but I want it. Yes. So, are the invitations already sent and the date fixed? All is done, just the catering is left. I have to call them again. I kind of want you to change the date of the wedding. Like, all the guests, Cain, his fiancée, and his biological mother should be unaware of this. I want them to think that the wedding is taking place on the right date, but it actually won't happen. Postpone it to 1 week. I see. You must have your reasons. I respect that. And it is very much possible. A guestless wedding sounds interesting. The deed was done. The date was shifted and fresh invitations were sent to all the guests with a new date and an apology note. Lenny, on the other hand, did a fantastic job addressing all these guests individually, explaining the situation and convincing them to play along with it. This was a tedious task, but so worth it. We all knew how important the wedding was to Cain and his mom. I didn't want her to have the satisfaction. The fit he threw on the day was worth recording. He was so shocked and dumbfounded to see how nobody came. The fact he called his friends and none of them picked up, he must have been so confused. He paced around, agitated. His fiancée was lost, like him, and his mother threw a fit as well. Once they left the venue, she went directly to our home. Lenny was at home watching TV as nothing happened. As if nothing happened. You never deserved to be the mother. You are a pathetic woman. I should be calling the cops on you for whatever you attempted on my wife. So I don't want you prying on my family anymore. Do you get me, woman? You are the problem. You are a manipulative person. I hate you. Why the hell do you love her, huh? I don't know for how long the quarrel would have continued, but at least Lenny was able to give a piece of his mind and was able to let out years of frustration. Now, we are slowly trying to get adjusted to the new things. The wedding was postponed, but at least Cain calmed down his angry boy demeanor. He was finally learning the course of events and how being hot-headed doesn't help. Michelle left with a heavy heart. She won't be welcome here ever again, and I am finally happy with the man I love. And I just hope it stays like this forever.